Hey y'all, how's it going? Hello everybody. Welcome to our COVID-19 era watch party. Not as exciting as a typical party. I wish we could all be together here today, enjoying some food, relaxing. Hey y'all, how's it going? Looks like I got to turn off my phone here. But anyway, I just want to thank you all for being here. The big moment's really going to be at 7 p.m. Central Time here in Texas. That's when the counties will first start releasing the early voting results. And so we'll know a ton at that moment. But let me just give a shout out to everyone who's been a part of this campaign from the 2018 race. We started in 2017 to this cycle. This has been a process to build a movement for big political change in the Texas 10th. And so each one of you who knocked doors, who made phone calls, who wrote checks, spread the word, retweeted us, whatever it is, whatever you've done, thank you so much for making this moment possible. We have an opportunity to make history in November, but first, of course, we have to clear this hurdle tonight. And so we're on pins and needles here. We know that there's been tremendous turnout, amazing turnout in Texas for a runoff election that was postponed and that is occurring during a health pandemic, which is a tremendous sign for November, folks. I mean, this is really exciting stuff. Before today even started, before the first vote was cast on Election Day, we know that there was over 30,000 votes cast in Texas 10 alone in this runoff. And by comparison, there was only 18,000 total cast in the Texas 10 runoff in 2018. And so based on the numbers that are coming in today, looks like we have 2.5 times the typical runoff turnout. And so this is extremely exciting. And so what we're going to do tonight is, really we're waiting for the results to come in. We're going to have a couple special guests. We'll be, sharing some video and photos and things like that. But for those of you who are watching on Facebook, please consider leaving a question or a comment. We can actually, discuss those here. Unfortunately, we can't be interactive with the technology we have, but please, write your comments in the stream there. Let us know how you're feeling. Thank you, Nicole Bruno Vereen, for the encouragement, feeling it out here from Katie. Thanks for chiming in. Craig Moore, thank you so much. So honored to have the support of the Black Austin Democrats. So we're feeling really, really good, folks. I mean, we've left it all on the line. The idea that as a campaign, we won every Democratic club endorsement, every union endorsement, every environmental endorsement. We've built a massive coalition, folks. So we're doing the work, laying the foundation for big things to come. And for now, I'm going to sign off for a minute. Next up, you're going to have a couple background images. I think we're going to have Kendrick Jones, who's running for county commissioner in the Prairie View area in Waller County. He's going to be on with me in a bit. But please stay tuned. And at 7 p.m., get ready for some big news. So thanks so much, folks. Talk to you soon. Hey, we're back, y'all. We're still figuring out this live music production or whatever, video production thing. So it looks like we're not going to have the slideshow we expected. But, I'm following along on Facebook. So thank you all so much for all the encouragement. Thank you for being there. Joyce Rouser, looking forward to a win. Knock on wood. We did everything we could. If anyone's watching from line, by the way, please stay in line. The polls are open till 7 p.m. And we, basically we're hearing that there are a few lines in Harris County. So if you're out in Harris, if you're in line by 7 o'clock, you can vote. And so obviously every vote counts. This is just an exciting moment in Texas political history, that Democrats are outvoting Republicans on March 3 in the primary. I mean, in this Texas 10, we had way more votes than the Republicans by multiple tens of thousands. And then in this runoff that we have massive turnout, I mean, this is really exciting, folks. I mean, in 2018, a lot of people wondered, was it a fluke? What Beto did, what all the campaigns down ballot did, was it a fluke? And the answer in 2020 is a resounding no. We're back in Texas, bigger and better. Sunrise Austin, yes, let's go. If y'all haven't been following the Sunrise movement, they are this youth environmental advocacy, racial justice, social justice organization. I'm honored to have the support of the Sunrise Hub in Austin and in Houston, as well as the national organization. And just to give you a sense of how committed these young people are, teenagers, some of them in their 20s, they made over 100,000 phone calls for this campaign in the last week. I mean, 100,000 phone calls, y'all. So tremendously powerful. And, this is the antidote to corporate politics, to money-driven campaigns. This is how we beat Michael McCall. I mean, this is a guy who has more money than any other person in Congress, just about, massive personal wealth, but he's not someone who has people power, straight up. He doesn't even talk to the people, much less have volunteers. So thank you, Sunrise. Let's see. Any questions here from the crowd? Well, aloha from the Kauai contingent. That's my cousin Sarah. Right on, Sarah. Thank you. That's my auntie Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Abby's asking, how soon do you think we will have results? Well, I can answer for Brianna. At 7 p.m., we've been assured that the Travis County elections clerk is going to post some major results. It looks like 2/3 of the electorate might be early voters and vote by mail. So we will know in just about 10 minutes, maybe a couple minutes after that. So 10 minutes until we're going to hear big things. Adam, thank you for the encouragement. That's one of our superstar field organizers. Adam, thank you so much for all of your amazing work. Jerome Wald from the Houston side, the labor movement. Thank you, Jerome, for your support. Our Revolution Harris County, the Labor Council out there. I mean, this is the exciting thing about the Texas 10th. I don't know if we can put a map up of the district, but it unites two extremely important labor communities in Austin and Houston. It unites two progressive communities at two poles of the district. And when they drew the map, they thought that, well, wait, this is a Republican suburb on the Houston side. These are rural counties. We'll just slice a little bit of Austin in there. It'll be permanent Republican. But this district has been growing so much, the Austin area, the Houston area, it's become a battleground, folks. And so that's what's happening tonight. We're going to be hearing about can we go on to challenge Michael McCall for round 2 this time to finish the job. That's our plan here. So we will know shortly. Let me just check out your comments. Let's see. Right on. Well, thank you all for following. 45 people. Hopefully you're just in the background making dinner, enjoying a beverage, whatever it is you're doing. I don't have too much to say other than to appreciate y'all and just to let you know I'm waiting for the results as well. Sumbo, thank you so much. Super excited. We're praying for great results too. Thank you so much for this encouragement and support. I've been really honored to have the support of the Muslim community here in the Texas 10th, both in Austin and in Harris County. And that's the kind of intersectional, cross-race, cross-ethnic, cross-religion campaign we want to run. Michael McCall, he doesn't have that kind of support. And so that's the kind of coalition we need. Lisa Schneider, this is one of the OGs. I feel like she should have a special badge. In 2018, this campaign started out as about as grassroots as you could get. with 40 volunteers who collected signatures to get me on the ballot. Here we are in our second round. Just crossed raising $1 million the other day. Have tremendous national, local, statewide support. So Lisa, thank you for being a founding member of this work here. Hope to reward you tonight and in November. Robin Rick, shivering with anticipation. Hey, Robin, that's one of our awesome allies and supporters from Bastrop County, fighting for justice for Rodney Reed to get him off Texas death row. Joined Robin the other day in Bastrop to demand the removal of the Confederate monuments that are in front of the Bastrop County Courthouse. And there's good news from the folks that have been doing that work. City Council member Doc Jackson, Cheryl Lee, Madeline Eden, Robin, Amy Cook, and so many others, Cheryl Reese. There's just an awesome coalition of folks in Bastrop County that have effectively petitioned the county commissioner, including the county judge, to, I could basically set in motion a process to remove those monuments, which is amazing. So great news there. Robin, keep up the work in Bastrop. I think this is the year, in 2008, that was the last time Bastrop County voted Democratic, majority Democratic. And 2020, we can do it again because there are these towns in Texas 10, Elgin, the city of Bastrop, and Smithville, where there's a tremendous community of committed Democratic activists. And so we can definitely flip Bastrop. We were lucky enough to flip a city council seat for Doc Jackson there last summer, and we're going to finish the job here. Sula Howell, I'm honored to be your candidate as well. Thank you so much, Sula. Tremendous former precinct chair, organizer. Thank you, Sula, for all of your amazing support. I think they want you back as the precinct chair over there, by Westminster. But anyway, thank you for all of your service. Let's see, we got 50 people on this call. This is great. Well, feel free to hit me with any questions. Let's see. Mr. Mashoud, my uncle Jesse from New York. Hey, Jesse. Right on. Folks from California, Bob Leibel. We've got a wonderful community of folks here. Karen Cohn from Orange County. Hey, Karen. Good to have you. Wow, 5 minutes until results are coming in. Let me know if you have any interesting stories about voting. Sabiha Rehman, thank you so much. Honored to have your support as well. Yeah, it's really all about the energy. That's our X factor as Democrats. We're excited to get rid of Trump. We're excited to implement progressive policies that meet the scale of the crises we're facing. So this is, all of you are part of this movement. It looks like we might be ready for our first special guest, a young man named Kendrick Jones. Kendrick, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Right on.
We have about five more minutes to the poll close, and then we sending you on to November to get the job done this time.
Knock on wood. I haven't got a chance to introduce you, but for those of you who don't know Kendrick, one of the youngest city council members ever elected, coming out of Prairie View A&M University, city of Prairie View. He's now the Democratic nominee for Waller County Commissioner. And to me, Kendrick, the work you've been doing on racial justice, voting rights, representing the students at Prairie View, and then now poised to take this seat on the county commission. To me, this is why we need to work together, right? To be a consolidated slate, to support each other. And just would love to hear your thoughts on, what you think is possible out in Waller County this cycle, and whatever else is on your mind.
So as you know, you joined in and helped us on this fight for voting rights, fighting against voter suppression. And so once I seen you just dove in right away and jumped in, and giving us all you had and all you was willing to do, even while you was running your campaign. And so I know that goes to shows me that once you are elected, that you will continue to do the work of the people, for the people, and what we need. And sometimes our elected officials are not representation of us, but I feel as though you would be the change of that. You have transparency and constant communication as you helped us fight this battle. But in Ward County, we need things like zip code. We don't have a zip code. In the city of Purview, city limits to help us with this voting suppression deal. Um, just hearing constant communication and being transparent with one another, seeing how we could help, how we could push the agenda forward. And we need people, as you said, we need camaraderie all across the state, but especially with our city, with the county, and as well as with you in Congress.
Right on. Well, I see Waller County. Oh, you're getting some support here from Amber King. I see Waller County as basically the core of all these intersecting struggles, right? I mean, we've got this commitment to racial justice, the movement for Black lives, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland. I believe it was yesterday, was 5 years, the anniversary of that terrible moment. But then you've got this tremendous tradition of fighting for voting rights at Prairie View, the idea that every college student in this country can vote on campus where they attend school because the Prairie View students won a Supreme Court case, about 40 years ago. And I guess I'm just thinking, what is going to be most important to get the student community, the young people in Waller County excited about what's happening in November? I mean, do you see some key issues as something we need to fight for most of all?
Yeah, I think the fight that what we need to fight for is having more elected officials that's not afraid to have the tough conversations. As I just talked to my mom about you this morning, as I sent up my prayers for the guys that I hope that pulled through, and as well as go on to November. And it was just like, he wasn't afraid to have the tough, hard conversation. So that way, at the end of the day, we could still respect one another. You gave me hope. You gave me a sense of wanting to fight. And I think we need more elected officials that are like that are willing to, have conversations to see what exactly we want. As our most important issue in Waller County would be to have polls on campus just like every other university. And no longer have to deal with this voter suppression deal. But I can say for you, you got us riled up. Of course, when I was a student, and that you have the student support right now because we know that you're not afraid to jump in and fight with us and alongside us, and not just be someone that's hard to contact or someone that just comes around during political season. You actually be for the people.
Right on. Well, thank you for that, Kendrick. I'm concerned about, how are we going to contact the students? Have they decided? Are we going to be on campus at Prairie View this fall? Have they decided?
Yes, sir. So it's looking like they just had a town hall actually earlier today. I was giving a speech, but as far as right now, students will be coming back onto campus, and we'll be working it.
Hopefully, we can do that in a safe way. They're just, for example, I think Austin, the city of Austin, just said they're going to open with students learning from home for the first 3 weeks of the school year for the school district here. But yeah, it's just such a crazy time because we all need to keep doing our work. We need to keep our studies going. But obviously we don't want to be spreading the virus. Well, right on, Kendrick. Well, any questions, any final words? I'm getting, my phone's buzzing. I don't know if we've got results yet.
How do you feel? It's over. It's over. It's 7:01 now. How do you feel?
I've done everything we can do, right? I mean, I look back on, almost 3 years of work, and I feel, really good about all the organizing work we've done. The idea we've been able to build this coalition, earn respect and community support across the 9 counties. Maybe the one thing I could have done, I could have spent some more time on the phone asking for money. But the idea is that, well, first you do the work to establish yourself. Then later, maybe I can step back and, just go for the money and just let the campaign go forward. So hopefully we struck the right balance. In this 2020 race, we started in January 2019, fighting this voter suppression where they were trying to kick all the Mexican-American citizens off the rolls, this voter purge. We've been fighting on this coal plant in Fayette County, which is polluting the air and water. We've been talking about voting rights. We've been talking about climate change. Trying to really fight on the issues that matter for folks, in the local community. And so I'm hopeful that we'll be rewarded for this focus on service. I definitely think that's that's the contrast with the current representative, a person who can't even be bothered to show up, much less answer questions or fight for.
Can't get a response to an email neither, but it'll be okay.
Right on.
But I am going to go on the limb now and say that all of that would change come November 3rd.
Right on. Well, how's it looking in your race for November? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I was blessed not to have a runoff, and now it's time for me to after today, well now, to kick off back my campaign, get out, fundraise, send a lot of flyers to people homes and things of that such. I have a lot of yard signs going up. And so we just got to keep the ball rolling, keep the ball pushing, and I'm gonna do my best to make sure that we get a little extra push this time, especially with me and you being on the slate at the same time, to where we could get you elected.
Lord willing, yeah. Well, you can give yourself a plug. Is there a website people should go to? I mean, because we
yeah. If you would love to support me, you can go to kendrickjones.com. You can read about my policies. And then always, even Mike C would say the same thing. We could always use your help and support through either fundraising or seeing how you could join the campaign.
Yeah. So if you could spell Kendrick, you got you most of the way there.
Oh yeah, it's pretty unique. So KENDRIC Jones JONES.com.
So elect. We got it on the screen there. This is professional here. This is like to elect a young progressive leader from the Prairie View community to take a seat on the Waller County Board of Commissioners Court. I mean, this is democracy in action here. I mean, from student leader to city council member to Waller County Commission, the sky's the limit. So I'm honored to be in this fight with you, Kendrick. Thank you for coming on with us today.
My last thing, I say thank you for always allow me to pick your brain, me being a young man in this game, and as well as you always being there for the people. And so I know that'll take you a long way, and I know that'll take you past today on to November, because you have been a person that has been for the people.
Awesome. Thank you, Kendrick. Let's keep working, man. Have a good night.
Sir.
Hopefully we'll have some good news. Take care. All right, y'all. Well, does anybody have any results? Put it in the Facebook. If you have the direct feed, let me know. I'm seeing lots of wonderful comments. So glad that so many of you are watching here. Let's see. Well, we got some good news, cautiously good news. So the first results are in from Harris County, and we're in the lead. Not by a lot, but we are in the lead. It looks like early voting in Harris County, our campaign is up 53% to 47%. So it's pretty close there. Surely not dispositive. Now, for those of you watching at home, trying to figure out the math, big picture in this primary, about 2/3, maybe 70% of the electorate is from Travis County. So Travis County really is the ball game. But all the rest of this matters, of course. And in November, this Harris County is the key, right? Because in Travis, I mean, this is the blueberry in the tomato soup of Texas. Well, it's not a tomato soup anymore, but this is obviously a Democratic stronghold here in Austin. And this is a place where we can really run up the score. But it's these communities in Harris County, especially Katy, Cypress, and Tomball, formerly pretty segregated suburbs with not a lot of diversity, not a lot of Democratic voters, but have become increasingly diverse. And folks were really activated in 2018. Beto O'Rourke obviously did amazing work. We got to join him for town halls. We knocked thousands of doors in these neighborhoods. And, if you haven't been to Katy or Cypress, these are very diverse communities. These are, you got Black folks, Latino folks, South Asian folks, Muslim folks. You got Nigerian folks, including my family lives not too far from there, in a very diverse area. And historically, the Harris County Democratic Party was really focused on Houston and didn't have a big presence in these suburbs. So it's a process, right, to turn a community from red to blue. And it looks like, our campaign is definitely got a lot of loyalty and support in Harris County. It's wonderful to get that good news that we're ahead in Harris County. Actually, I didn't win Harris County in the primary. So in the primary on March 3rd, this campaign came in first with 44% of the vote. Second place was 33%. And we did that with a really big score in Travis County. But the idea that we're looking good in Harris County, that's good news. So cautiously optimistic. All right, so feel free to drop any questions. I'm just going to keep talking because we don't have a lot of other technology to go to commercial break or anything. But if any of you have any questions, if there's any topics you have for me, Sam Lavario, 2 votes in Travis County. Thank you, Sam, and your wife. Appreciate you. Every vote counts. All right, Cynthia Kimbrell says, hang in there, kiddo. Well, I don't feel like a kid anymore. My wife says I'm getting the Obama gray. But yeah, thank you, Cynthia. It's all relative. Right on. Let's see here. Hedrick Michelson, thank you so much. Hedrick is my neighbor. I didn't know her until I ran for Congress the first time. And she has been an amazing support. So Hedrick, thank you so much from super volunteer, voter contact, financial support, gardening expertise. So appreciate you, Hedrick. Big shout out. And thank you for supporting Kendrick as well. Let's see. Do I have to just keep talking or can I be quiet for a minute? All right. Hasmik is asking, what will be your dream bill to author and get passed? And Matt Krause, who's behind the scenes, saw that question. I think the Green New Deal in Texas is the thing I'm most excited about, where I feel like, we can show some leadership. This is a district, the Texas 10th, that unites an environmental community in Austin with 7 rural counties, including a coal plant in Fayette County. And then the Houston area suburbs that are known as the oil patch, the energy corridor. And so if we can write a bill that meets the needs of the Texas community and that advances the fight against climate change, that's where I think we have a tremendous opportunity to lead. If we can pass Green New Deal legislation from Texas, anything is possible for climate change. And, I will say, and Leslie, thank you for the support, Pflugerville in the House. But, this moment with 45 million unemployed across the nation, this is when we need a jobs bill. This is when the federal government needs to be using its financial power to put America to work. And so we can address multiple crises at once by spending federal resources to create millions of good new jobs, union jobs, by the way. If you can't see the sign, I'm a union guy all the way. But that's what we need, good jobs to rebuild the middle class and confront climate change, remedy the legacy of environmental racism and injustice. So long story short, that's to me, that's where I could show some leadership to the community. Sam Arnold, super volunteer. I forgot how many doors you knocked before we shut down our door knocking program. I think it was 1,000 or more. It's people like Sam who I didn't know before running for Congress, who found something to believe in this campaign through all the people we put together. So I'm so honored to have your support of, Sam and everybody like him, people who've taken time from work, time from their families to put your effort into this campaign. And I hope you feel it's not for me, that it's for the movement. If somebody else was ready to beat McCall in November, I don't think I'd be running. But I do think that we're the campaign that can beat him. Nathaniel Rosenberg with Sunrise. Thank you, Nathaniel. I am so inspired by this youth movement. I actually have a nephew who's in a Sunrise chapter. And these young people, they not only are they idealistic and have a positive vision for the future, they see how climate connects to racial justice and economic justice. And they also see that political change takes work and discipline. And so the idea that on phone bank after phone bank, we had 40, 50 young people from across the country who care about climate change was so inspirational. So thank you, Nathaniel, for being a part of it. It looks like we might have our next guest, although we'll see if he's ready to discuss politics and the results. Jim Wick is our next guest. It looks like he's almost ready to log on. Jim has been a major political campaign manager with the Obama campaign, with Mayor Steve Adler in Austin. I believe he's working on a transportation or mobility bond right here in the Travis County area. And I'm interested to get his take on what's happening so far. Otherwise, I'm just reading the comments. Oh, here he is, the one and only.
Hey, Mike.
Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I think we promised you more results than we have right now. We just have a little thread of Harris County. We're up 53-47.
Yeah.
But, it's good news because I actually didn't win Harris in the first round. So the idea that we've made up ground there and that we still have Travis to come is optimistic. But I guess if you could just take a step back, with all your political acumen and experience and kind of describe this moment we're in, especially the high turnout across Texas for a delayed runoff. I mean, how are you feeling about the possibilities for November?
Well, yeah, thanks, Mike. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling good because, indications are in Travis County, we may have had upwards of 130,000 people vote. Maybe more than 100,000 of them in person during a pandemic. People are ready to vote. We've seen every election since Donald Trump became president. We've seen increased turnout across the board for every election. I'm talking November constitutionals, May specials, primary runoffs, delayed primary runoffs, primaries, and that turnout is being driven by under 40s. And voting in a way that people under 40 don't usually vote in a pre-Trump world. And so I think what you've really got is people practicing their voting and really with the protests earlier this summer in the streets, and a lot of people getting involved, a lot of people understanding what's at stake in our community at our state level. The pandemic's brought home what it means to have competent and responsive representation at all levels. And I think people are just really eager to vote. And I think all prospects point to just a huge wave of turnout in November.
So I want to ask you something that came up in this runoff, and it's the idea: can you win in a swing district as a progressive? And it's kind of a controversial topic, right? Nationally, I think there's a large chunk of the expert class that say, well, to win in a swing district, you need to be just kind of close to the middle. Just be a little bit better than the Republican. Maybe be a military veteran or a former Republican voter. And kind of soft pedal the social issues or the public welfare issues. And, one thing you just said to me was, I think is the counterpoint, right? The idea that we have great turnout in the under 40 age group, and so I'm running on Medicare for All and a Green New Deal. Of course, in the general, it's going to be more about the National Democratic Party platform. And as we see with the task forces with Biden and Bernie, I mean, Biden's coming out with some very strong progressive proposals. I mean, I think his latest climate proposal is to create millions of jobs with trillions of dollars in spending to build a renewable economy. And so do you see some opportunity here to win a seat as a progressive?
I do. And I think, I do subscribe to the theory, that I think was initially controversial, but now is gaining some acceptance. Which is that there's really no such thing as a swing voter. There are people on both sides, but largely, hey Ryan, people are looking for institutional change, and they're looking for bold vision and a progressive vision. And I think what's happened is, as our nation has become a little more polarized. Because of the way we can kind of self-select our media channels and things like that. I think that the choice in this election coming up is kind of about, are you gonna be the status quo, or are you gonna be moving forward? And I don't think people are willing to sacrifice bold vision for incrementalism in this environment. And the idea that Democrats should compromise on their values in order to pick up votes deflates the base. When you're, I like to use the sailing analogy. When you're on the water in a sailboat, you want to have the biggest sail that you have to catch the wind. And right now, all the energy and action is in progressive politics and really kind of pushing and fighting and working for incremental change. I mean, we've seen patterns over the last 40 years, the largest wealth transfer in the history of the world, beginning with Ronald Reagan in 1981. And though Democratic presidents have tried to push that down, and, I worked for Barack Obama, and I think Obamacare was a good step forward. It was certainly better than what we had, but it wasn't enough, obviously. And we see that now. And so I think a lot of voters see that now. And, I think that, you have to push to excite people to get the energy. And I think what we're going to see is really, particularly in suburbs and exurbs, is depressed turnout amongst Republicans who can't bring themselves to go to the polls and vote for, the top of the ticket. That's going to hurt them all the way down because, and of course, they're railing against vote by mail. The Republican consultants are starting to sound the alarms now around the nation as they see Republican mail ballots decreasing in jurisdictions across the country. What a boneheaded move.
Yeah. Well, one thing, one of the points I've made in response to this, you got to run to the middle idea. Although, of course, you always have to quote Jim Hightower, right? There's nothing in the middle of the road but, yellow lines and dead armadillos, as he would say. But the two progressive presidents that we think of, or at least the two presidents who presided over massive expansions of our safety net and civil rights laws, are FDR and LBJ, right? And I'll say, FDR, he ran on the New Deal, but he wasn't a progressive as we would think of that term. I mean, this is a guy who made an alliance with the KKK to help carry the South. Was not progressive on a lot of things, but he was responding to that moment, the Great Depression, fascism rising abroad. And he harnessed the power of the federal government to put millions of people to work building the country and then defeating fascism in Europe and in the Pacific. And then you can look at LBJ. I mean, I haven't read every single volume of his biography, but I've read enough to know that when he was coming up and the alliances he was building, it was not about progressive politics. I mean, he had this strand in his family of populism from his dad, but he was, he's an operator. But he responded to that moment, the civil rights movement. I mean, the assassinations of JFK, RFK, MLK, Malcolm X, and he rose to meet the challenge with the Voting Rights Act, Medicare, immigration laws, housing laws. And, I will say in the progressive community, and I have a lot of supporters who felt this way, didn't feel like Joe Biden was the candidate for this moment. But I'm feeling more and more optimistic that he's opening himself up to being responsive to this historic moment of intersecting crises, and that there's going to be this movement in the streets to help make sure that we do the right things. So looks like we're going to get some new results in. But any final words, Jim?
Yeah,
that's
great.
Waller County, home of Prairie View, 59-41. Thank you, Waller County.
I agree with you completely, Mike. I think that, particularly with Vice President Biden, he's been around a long time. He's been in Washington a long time, and you don't survive that long without knowing which way the wind's blowing. And it's pretty clear the wind is blowing in the direction of progressive Democrats right now. And I'm glad, and I hope, and hopefully he gets there on marijuana reform and some other issues that are can be disappointing, but I think he will get there. And even if Congress people like you have to drag him along to get there, then that's okay too, because as long as he gets there, that's what counts. And I think he will get there. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for our country too, as a result.
Lynette Roach from Tomball, not known as a hotbed of Democratic voters, but I think we've got some room to do in Tomball. Thank you, Lynette, for your support. Great to know you. So we're 2 for 2 so far, y'all. Harris County, Waller County. Big picture, even if those numbers held true for Election Day, that would be maybe 15% of the electorate. So the vast majority of the votes are not being reported yet. Dana de Beauvoir, come on, Dana. Where are these results in Travis County? She promised us 7 o'clock. No. Side note, we have to give much love and appreciation to all the elections clerks operating in this extremely hostile environment. I mean, Dana in Travis County, Diane Troutman and her replacement in Harris County have done amazing work despite the Texas Republican Party opposing vote by mail, despite not having the infrastructure. I mean, it's not as simple as saying, yeah, we'll take vote by mail ballots. I mean, you need scanners, you need staff, you need infrastructure, and these folks are doing tremendous things. So I take back any smart aleck remarks that I might have just made. Are we about to get some more results? Austin County. Okay, not to be confused with Austin for those folks who are not from Texas. Austin County is probably, may I say, the most conservative county in the Texas 10th. It's basically 4 or 5 to 1 Republican and Democrat. But we've got some great Democrats in Sealy, in Belleville. These are hardcore folks. And so we are 3 for 3 so far, folks. Is anybody excited yet? Is anybody excited? Jim, are you typing for us? Or are you multitasking?
I'm trying to, I'm refreshing the Travis County election results page.
I know that's.
I feel like Steve Kornacki at the map over there, trying to zoom in to get some fresh numbers. But I would say for your prospects, Mike, those 3 counties coming in the way that they did are pretty promising.
Right on. And I want to appreciate Jan Kuchel from Bastrop County. Thank you, Jan. And you're right. I mean, everyone who served as an elections judge today, a poll worker, deserved tremendous appreciation. And when I went to vote early, I was pleased to see younger people working at the polls. That's a new thing. I think we've always let the older generation, the retired folks, handle the poll working. But obviously, those folks, they shouldn't be out at the polls, or we need to protect our elders. So thank you to all the poll workers out there. Thank you to everybody watching. Austin County, Waller County, Harris County. It's looking good. We are waiting. Does anybody have a direct feed to what's happening in the counting booth in Austin, in Travis County? I mean, that's where the big numbers are going to come from. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Slack. I'm trying to get data. Wow, it's looking like, side note, the Senate race is super close. Yola Williams, hey, thank you. Appreciate you. Side note, Patrick Zvitek is reporting that in Harris County, early vote, West 51%, Hagar 49%. And so that's the biggest county in the state in terms of votes. I'm not sure what that portends. I don't know if you're ready to pontificate off that sliver of information, Jim. But Harris County is probably not quite indicative of the state overall.
Well, I'd say it's an important county for West if he has a path to victory. Obviously, he's going to do well in Dallas County, probably some bleed over into Tarrant County as well. And those 3 counties together, if he's able to build an 8 or 10 point margin, it might be difficult for MJ to make that up. I think she needed to do a little bit better in Harris County. Obviously Harris County, high proportion of African-American voters, so a little bit more West base. Dallas County and Tarrant County, those he's going to win those. And so for MJ, it's going to come down to Bear, El Paso, and Travis. And she'll have to rack up some votes in Travis, for sure.
Right on. Kathy Kuhner, Steve Kuhner, they live around the corner from me. I mean, the story of this campaign is really me starting in my house and walking in a spiral around where I live, and then just branching out. And so I'm honored to have the support of a lot of my neighbors. Looks like Bastrop County coming in. We are trailing in Bastrop County is what I'm hearing. So this is no sweep. And certainly my opponent in the primary, I think once we put down our swords, I think we're going to be ready to embrace each other, whatever the final result is. But he certainly has a lot of support in Bastrop County. So we'll see what those numbers are. Well, any insights on the rest? You want to take a moment to plug the mobility bond we're working on, Jim? Let folks know about that. I mean, these are some of the less glamorous parts of the ballot.
Well, voters are going to have the opportunity, hopefully, to vote on a comprehensive transit plan in the city of Austin, a whole system plan that could have 3 or 4 light rail lines from downtown to the airport, up and down South Congress and Guadalupe and North Lamar, and all the way maybe up the east side of downtown, as well as the Green Line out through East Austin up to Manor and Elgin potentially. And like I said, the Blue Line, and that'll go all the way up to the soccer stadium and beyond. And it's going to be a real game changer. It's going to help with traffic, obviously. Still a problem even in pandemic times in Austin, and getting stuck on I-35. And but really, it's going to be a big game changer for the environment. It's going to be emissions. Automobile emissions are the top source of greenhouse gases in our region, and we're going to be able to cut down on those significantly with when the system's built out, projecting 400,000 boardings a day. It's going to be a real game changer. It's also going to make it easier and more affordable to live in Austin, because you might not have to have a car to get around the city. And at the same time, the city's working on quick builds for bike lanes and urban trails and building out the sidewalk network. And so really working towards the strategic mobility plan goals, which call for trying to get to a 50-50 mode share by 2040. So just, bringing it down from where it is right now at about 72-74% single occupancy vehicle trips down to 50%. And so that's going to be a big part of making progress on our sustainability and environmental goals. And I think it's also, the pandemic has shown us how important it is to have a robust transit system so that our essential workers, people who work at the grocery store, people who work at hospitals and clinics, people who, pick up the trash, they need a way to get around in our city. And we can't expect them to be able to afford $1,000 a month to buy, operate, and maintain an automobile. That's just not sustainable for our community. And so we're going to have big opportunity to make some progress on that. I'm pretty excited about that.
And is this does it have a name yet? Is it Proposition A? Is it Travis County Measure B?
It'll be City of Austin Proposition A, I think. There's still a few details to be ironed out, but I feel good that the council, even in these pandemic times, I think the community understands what's at risk. We've tried a few times to get this done and haven't been successful, and now I think we've got a plan that really has wide acceptance and support in the community, and that's really important to getting something we can pass. Ooh, new results.
Yeah, I wonder if these are the Bastrop. Okay, Washington County, 63-37. So Brenham in the House, right on. So it looks like so far we have early results from 5 counties. Now, here's the bad news. It's not bad news for like whether I win or lose, but bad news for how long this is going to take tonight. Travis County is having delays, and apparently there's phone calls being made to the Secretary of State. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to talk until the results come in. But that said, to summarize for folks who might have just tuned in, we have 5 counties of early results that are in. Harris County is pretty close, although we're up. We're up in Austin County. We're up in Washington County and Waller County. And my opponent, Pratesh Gandhi, is up in Bastrop County. So it's looking positive. I was pretty close in backdrop as well, early vote. So it's not done. It's not done, but obviously we have room for some optimism. I guess I'm getting reports that from my wife there's some feedback. I think that's you tapping, Jim, but she can hear you typing. But that said, Jim, I guess
there's a bit of a crackle on the mic.
Interesting. Okay. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll be a little quieter. Do you have any final words, Jim? Anything like to share?
No. Other than I sure hope you win, Mike, and I feel confident that you'll be victorious in November. I think that everything's coming together real nicely in terms of turnout and excitement and enthusiasm, and I can say with a fair amount of certainty that you are one of the hardest working candidates that I've ever encountered. Really put in the work, man, and it shows in these results that we've seen so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing some Travis County results.
Yeah, I'd love to see him too. Well, thank you, Jim, and appreciate your time and support. And we'll be in touch. Hopefully, talk more about how we're going to win in November. So, thanks again, man.
All right. Good luck, Mike.
Hey, take care, Jim. Bye. All right. Let's see. Hopefully, that helps me to. Looks okay. Fayette County's in, very close. Gandhi's ahead. So let me just run it down. So Harris County, we're ahead by about 6% with early vote. Austin County, Waller County, strong leads. Washington County, strong lead. And in Fayette and Bastrop, Gandhi's ahead by a couple percentage points. Looks like that sound problem was resolved. That maybe that was just having two feeds on at once. Thank you to the 85 people who are watching live right now. If you have any questions for me, this is a great opportunity. Let me know if there's anything. Oh, someone's asking who was Jim. Jim Wick was the person who was just on with me. He was Mayor Steve Adler, Austin Mayor Steve Adler's campaign manager. He's a longtime political professional who's working on a mobility bond to increase access to light rail and mass transit in Austin. So Lisa, that's who Jim is. All right, so Lois Sanders is asking about Lee County. We don't know much about Lee County, Lois. There's a diehard group of Democrats in places like Giddings and Dime Box. We can leave no Democrat behind, but I don't see any results from Lee County yet. All right, here's some results. What do we see? That looks like our campaign's early tracker. So it looks like overall about 10,000 votes, 10,900 votes have been counted. A relatively slim margin, 53 to 47 more or less overall from the early votes that are in. So we're still waiting on the big one. I am getting optimistic text messages about Travis County, but we're not counting any votes until they're really in here. So thank you for sending me these text messages. Thank you for all the Facebook messages. Howard Hartman, I'm being positive. Have you started looking for housing in DC? No, Howard. We got to beat the wealthiest member of Congress. Come on, man. No. Oh, Travis will have 70% of the vote share. Somebody, whoever's writing these, Matt, you maybe get too optimistic for a second. Got my cousin Jack Siegel. He's saying go Yankees. Don't listen to him, y'all. We're not Yankee fans around here. But no, Howard, I'm not looking for housing in DC. First of all, I live in Texas. We'll figure that part out later. That's what you call a high-class problem. Beth Fagan, thank you for the support. Great to see you. Mark Maldonado saying, Mike, the first time I met you, your mom told me the family's labor history. I don't recall the whole story. Can you refresh my memory? Thank you, Mark, for giving me a prompt here. A union guy. So, I was a member of the union at the city of Austin. Before that, as a teacher, I was a teachers union guy. My campaign is unionized. But I would say the first union I was a part of was the International Association of Machinists. because when I was in my mom's womb, she was an organizer at a factory. She was a machinist and a shop steward, and she was actually on strike during the first trimester. So that's how deep the labor history goes in my family. I was on strike before I was in the open air. Are we getting some new results in? Travis County early vote, 14% margin. My math is a little off, y'all. Okay, that's good news. That might even be amazing news, because basically, if you can do 2/3 of 2/3, Travis County is 2/3 of the district, or a little more in terms of the primary vote, and early vote is 2/3 or more of the Travis County vote. All right, so we have an 11% lead. Are we happy? Are we happy? I wish I could hear you. I mean, somebody said that they wanted to do a caravan by my house tonight. I said, no, thank you. I don't want a caravan in front of my house tonight. But I wish I could be with y'all. This is a really weird time to be a candidate. Matt Krause's happy. Are y'all happy? I'm seeing some comments here. People are happy. Whitney's happy. Whitney is a super volunteer. Over 1,000 doors knocked last time we checked. Jenny Sevilla, thank you, Jenny. I hope you can support me through November. Definitely please support me through the rest of this night. Chris Blanton, double digits. Okay. Kelsey, Sunrise Hub. Kelsey, yes, good to see you. Abby, no, we don't want a caravan at my house. My neighbors don't want a caravan. Thank you very much, Abby, for the idea. But show me how happy you are in this thread here. All right. I do have a speech prepared, but we're not going to give the speech yet. All right. I just got a text message. My dad is happy. My mom is happy. Caitlin Brown is happy. I would give out my phone number here, but I'm not sure everybody who's watching. Jim Wick says he just saw the Travis results. He thinks we've won. I'm not prepared to declare victory yet. Ana Luisa and Bill, thank you all so much. Powerful support. If anybody wants to get fired up about this campaign, you just need to drive up and down Shoal Creek Boulevard in Austin. It's a beautiful drive anyway, but there are a sea of signs. You hear these dings? My phone is dinging. People are happy. All right, we are up 12%. Well, this is feeling good, folks. David from Houston. What's up, David? I will tell you guys, this is starting to get a little emotional. Thank you to Hindatu Mohammed, my dear wife, owner of the Allendale Veterinary Clinic, a little plug, mother of our 2 children. She's been supporting me. I haven't had a paying job since February of 2019. We did this because we think it's that important. We think it's that important to replace Michael McCall and get some real representation in this district. That's why I've turned my life upside down. I mean, this is our family's commitment to fighting Trump, right? This is what we could do. And I'm just honored that so many of you have joined us, have lifted this up. This is a movement. I mean, I'll tell you, if any of you know me personally, you know me. I'm not like a super social person. I've had to learn that, but this is the way we change this country. Marilyn Pickens, Marilyn and Gary Pickens have been amazing supporters in 2018 and 2020. Knocking doors. I mean, Gary has knocked as many doors as anyone almost. Jan, my aunt Tori is watching. What's up, Tori? Brianna Burns, has played every role in this campaign. She says she's super effing happy in a text message. I figure I probably shouldn't curse, even though I think Facebook you are allowed to curse. But my mom's happy. We're getting a lot of good messages here. So my friend Puneet says, "Don't cry on live TV." Puneet, what's wrong with little tears? We can cry. Anyway, we're getting some good news, folks. So it looks like we're doing some good work, y'all. All right. Christy, Laura, Luann, Keaton, Juliet, Lori, Sumbul, Lisa Seeger, Blue Heron Farms. Y'all look it up. If you're anywhere near Waller County, the best goat cheese in the business. Definitely look up Blue Heron Farms. We got some excited people. 94 people watching live. That's the most for me, on a live stream. So honored that y'all are joining me. Listen to me blather on here. So how many doors do we knock on in Travis County? Well, we couldn't knock doors after basically March 9th, but we knocked 50,000 in the primary, and a lot of those doors were in Travis County. And that's I think why we have the support. I mean, there's nothing more powerful than meeting a voter face to face, and there's nothing more powerful than that, having that one-to-one conversation. I mean, if any of you have volunteered, it's like if you tell someone, oh, no, I'm not a paid staffer. I'm doing this because I believe in the movement. That's more powerful than any TV ad, any mail piece, anything you can buy. And that's our key to victory in November, people power. All right, so we're still waiting on Election Day results. So all of this is preliminary. We feel good about Election Day, too. It's not like we took our foot off the gas, but big picture, we feel good about Election Day. These results shouldn't change a lot, but man, Travis County, who's excited? I'm excited. All right, well, anyone have any philosophical questions? Anything I can talk about while we're waiting for more results? My buddy Jackson Peretta, some of you know that I was a teacher. My wife and I met as teachers in Houston, Texas in 1999. In some ways that was the genesis of this. And we were training to be public school teachers. And Jackson was out there with us, one of my friends from 21 years from public education. And my cousin Hannah has got a new baby at home. Hannah, thanks for joining us. Hope the baby's doing well. Look forward to meeting her. Rania Batrice, thank you for being a part of our team. Frederica, right on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. All right. We're looking good, y'all. David D'Angelo. I'm getting text messages with statistical analysis. Christy Lara, not me, us. And Christy, the way I've been saying that, we're going to flip Texas as Democrats when we establish the reputation that we're going to show up and fight for everyone. Every community in this state, not for an election. It could be a non-election year. It could be the coal plant in Fayette County. It could be the water quality in Brenham. It could be flood control in Harris County. It could be fighting the family separation policy, fighting the Muslim ban. It could be keeping rural hospitals open. But when we establish the reputation that we're going to show up and fight for folks on the issues that matter most to them, we're going to flip the state and we're never going to give it back. So that's, the Bernie mantra was not me, us, but I mean, we're going to fight for everyone, right? I mean, I think the people on this call, they believe in that. Amy Cook, one of the leaders of the fight to remove the Confederate monuments in Bastrop County. Amy, I love that mask, looking good. Sharon Gillespie, major environmental activist, organizer. Thank you, Sharon, for your support and your belief. Right on, Martha. Appreciate the shout out. Vanessa, thanks for giving Hindetu a shout out. She deserves it. She's also texting me when the sound isn't good. So thank you, Hindetu. She's not here in the office with me, partly because it would just be boring for the kids to be sitting around. Kristen, thank you for being a supporter 2018 and 2020. I feel like we need a special badge. I mean, we welcome all support. Everyone, we welcome you. But I do think the folks that were here, in the days when nobody thought we had a chance, y'all deserve special shout outs. Christopher Hom, thank you. Fight for the people, not corporations and wealthy individuals. Vicky Vogel, good to see you, Vicky. Right on. This is fun. All right, we're up 12%. That's a good sign. Maddie says hi. Hey, Madeline Eden. That's a state house seat, a Democratic nominee in the state house in the Lee County, Bastrop. I believe it extends down to Lockhart. That's a nice race. And Maddie, by making that sacrifice, I mean, this is what the slate is about. Maddie is running in a seat that's very hard for a Democrat to win, but by virtue of running, she can help me. She can help Joe Biden, our Senate nominee. She can help the folks. Cheryl Reese is our Democratic nominee in Bastrop County for Commissioner's Court in the Elgin area. Cheryl Reese, like Kendrick Jones, who we talked to earlier today in Waller County, that's another one of these seats we can win. And so it's all about the whole ticket. President to dog catcher. We need to run, every seat. Bella Rose Norvig is asking, do we expect election day results to track with early voting? We hope so. There's no reason to think they won't, Bella, but obviously we can't take it for granted. Adam, this is one of our super duper staffers. So honored to have you on our team, Adam. Sunrise organizer, super canvasser, along with Andrew. We've got a great team, y'all. Hey, Mike Behrman, is that the way? Anyway, Mike, thank you. No big questions. I'm glad things are looking good. Love your avatar. Juliet, thanks for the shout out to Hindatu. Ana Luisa Salas Porras. This makes it worth getting kicked off a mean person's property on your behalf. Worth it. This makes it worth it. So Ana Luisa, she's got some war wounds. Once in a while, it doesn't happen too often, but once in a while, we do encounter folks who don't want us knocking on their door. Maybe even reactionary folks, hateful folks. By and large, I want to tell you that volunteering is a rewarding experience, but political change is not easy. So Ana Luisa, thank you for taking one for the team. I'm glad you feel like it's worth it now. I appreciate all of your support. Right on, Puneet, appreciate the support. Right on, Varun and Claire watching. They say that not only do they support the campaign, they support my wife's veterinary clinic. By the way, it's not required, but we are running a clinic. She's been running it the whole time. In March and April and May, when they closed the schools, I was home with the kids, and she kept working, an essential worker, taking care of the pets of our community. So another shout out to Ndetu. Right on, Jenny. Well, anyone have any questions? I think this might be all the data we have right now. It might be a while before election day comes in. So we have a 12% margin. It's looking fantastic. The experts on my team are saying the biggest fluctuation you would ordinarily see would be about 4%. So it's looking good. I gotta open the door for my campaign manager. All right. Well, he's apparently outside. I gotta go unlock the door. Jake Mobley, I do see a question about the mayor and Spencer Cronk. I am gonna do what I think is appropriate in my situation and say that there's a lot we can do as a city to improve our police force, to improve our priorities. And I'm honored to have the support of members of our city council, like Leslie Poole and Greg Kassar, who are fighting to reform our budget and reprioritize the budget in a way that meets the needs of public safety. But tonight, I'm going to keep the focus on this race here. Happy to talk more about that. And if we could go to a commercial break. Abby says, shout really loud if there's a big update. We will. Well, thanks all for tuning in. We're not quite done, but I'm going to step out for a second, and I'll be back shortly. Take care, folks. Hey y'all, I'm back for a quick second. Thank you to all of you who are still watching. So we've got a plan for how we're gonna handle the night. But first of all, I just want to give a shout out to Colorado County, Columbus, Eagle Lake. We're up 60-40 in Colorado County, which is wonderful news. Not thousands of votes there, but that's like, all these counties matter, especially in November. Each of these towns, these are places where we can put a couple hundred more votes up each, and that could be the margin in November. So what we're hearing tonight is that we're going to have election day results starting at about 9 p.m. And so what our campaign is going to do, you can keep this feed open if you like. We will continue to update the spreadsheet, but I'm going to come back in 90 minutes at 9:30, and I'm going to make my remarks then. It's looking good, so I'll get my words ready. So if you want to come back at 9:30 to hear what we have to say, you can keep this feed up. But thank you all for all of your encouragement and support. I can feel the love. Even I'm in this room here, and you're far away. I can feel the love. So thank you to all of you for your encouragement and support. Thank you for all of you who have knocked doors, made calls, donated dollars, everything. It all is a part of this movement. So thank you for spreading the word. And we'll be back in about 90. So, all right, folks, it's looking good. Talk to you soon. Hey, hey, is anybody still there? You still listening, y'all? Well, thank you for hanging in. Appreciate you waiting. And I'm here to tell you that we are ready to declare victory, that I've won the Democratic nomination, the Texas 10th Congressional District, with 2/3 of the results already in. We have an overwhelming margin of victory. So thank you all so much. This is a fantastic moment in a long journey on the road to justice and opportunity for the people of the Texas 10th. Thank you so much to each of you who gave your time, your treasure, your spirit to this challenge that was seen as insurmountable 2 years ago. Results continue to come in, but I'm here to say that this is clear that our campaign, our movement has won, not just tonight, but in November. And we're running a campaign that's fighting for our health, that's fighting for our environment, that's fighting for jobs for every American. And it's this relentless pursuit of justice that will carry us to victory, not only tonight, but in November. And this campaign, I think you know this is rooted in the community of Texas 10 and the needs of the people in this district. You know, I've been on the campaign trail for almost 3 years, and we've really gotten to know this district, how beautiful it is, whether it's driving back from Brenham in early spring when the bluebonnets are in full bloom, crossing the ranches in places like Burton and Round Top and Page, visiting those powerful students at Prairie View A&M, enjoying our diverse communities from Katy and Cypress to Austin, from Mount Bunnell to Stephen F. Austin State Park, from the forest of Bastrop to the edge of Lake Travis and Volente. This is an amazing territory here in the Texas 10th. But at the same time, for all of you who have been paying attention, this is also a community with tremendous needs that have been ignored for too long. I mean, we're in a health pandemic right now, and our district has seen 3 rural hospitals close in the last 10 years. We have tens of thousands of people who have no health insurance and who face immense barriers to even getting a test for COVID-19. Our district has massive environmental pollution caused by a coal plant in Fayetteville that has been ruining the air and groundwater for decades. We have pollution caused by fracking, unregulated across the district near schools and water supplies. We have pollution caused by chemical plants in places like Cypress, where our frontline and working class communities are most at risk. So we have an environmental crisis to address. We also are in a district where the legacy of Jim Crow racism hangs heavy. You know, we are still remembering, yet from yesterday, 5 years ago, the death of Sandra Bland in Waller County. We have Rodney Reed living on Texas death row. We have voter suppression in Prairie View. We have targeted harassment of our community, our Hispanic community in places like Austin County. And there's countless other issues our campaign has learned about that have been unheard, ignored, unresponded to by the representative there, Michael McCall. And he has failed the people of the Texas 10th. Would you agree that Michael McCall has failed this district? I mean, this is the core reason why I'm doing this. If we had someone who actually cared about the people, who was making sure we had food and a roof over our heads and clean air and clean water and access to a doctor and safe infrastructure, I wouldn't be doing this. But instead, we have Michael McCall, the co-author of the Muslim ban, someone who presided over the family separation policy, who's voted to take away our health care, who won't even take the most basic steps to protect our democracy. He's been on the wrong side of every issue, voting with Donald Trump 97% of the time, protecting him from impeachment, who won't even criticize the catastrophic response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So Michael McCall has to go. A man who refuses to meet with the people, hold town halls, even perform the most basic functions of a representative, the embodiment of Trumpism, an elite, out-of-touch, racist xenophobe. And sure, he's got $300 million in personal wealth, but we've got the people, y'all. And we've built an unprecedented, unstoppable coalition. I mean, we won't stop building it, but we won the endorsements from Bernie and Warren, which was amazing. But our supporters also include supporters of every presidential candidate, whether it's Andrew Yang, Mayor Pete, Amy, even Bloomberg, of course, our next president, Joe Biden. I mean, we have won the endorsement and support of everyone, every Democratic club, every union, every environmental group, state leaders, local leaders, national leaders. I mean, we have an unprecedented coalition here, y'all. And the progressive policies we're fighting for are a part of that. We're giving a real contrast with the incumbent, McCall. We're fighting for universal health care while he supports cuts. We're fighting climate change while he denies its existence. We're fighting racism and xenophobia while he repeats the Trump America First white supremacist rhetoric. So McCall is on the wrong side, and we've built this coalition by showing up, folks, by knocking doors in places like Sealy and Eagle Lake and Brenham and all these places across the district, meeting with Democrats and community members across the 9 counties, fighting on local issues, whether it's flood control in Harris County, water quality in Brenham, voter suppression in Waller County and Austin County, pollution in Fayette. We showed up to remove those Confederate monuments in Bastrop. We showed up to protect voting rights at Prairie View A&M. We testified at the Capitol to stop Greg Abbott's purge of Mexican-American naturalized citizens. We spoke out against the Border Patrol camps on the border holding asylum seekers. We fought to close the private immigration jail over at Hutto, north of Austin. We're demanding common sense gun reform. We're fighting to improve the wages and working conditions of workers. This is what Democrats need to do in Texas, right? To turn this state blue, we need to establish the reputation that we're going to show up and fight for everyone on your issue, election years and non-election years, that we're here to put our shoulders to the wheel, to fight for what's right, to fight for justice, to fight for equality, to fight for opportunity. And when everyone knows that Democrats are going to fight for all, that's when we're going to turn this state blue, and we're not going to let go. This is going to be a permanent majority for Democrats when we finish this job we've started. So let's go win in November. Let's keep fighting the good fights along the way. Before I have the chance to take office in January 2021, we're going to have to keep fighting to win this race in November, but also to stand up for our community before then. I mean, we are living in Texas, where we have a state and a federal government that have failed catastrophically to protect life during the coronavirus pandemic, and they continue to fail to protect us. Now state leaders, luckily our local school districts, at least in this Boston area, are standing up. But these folks want to reopen the schools before we even know it's safe. And that's obscene. I mean, some of you know that I'm a former public school teacher. And like a lot of parents out there, I need my kids back in school. I'll tell you, I need them back in school. I need to make the calls to win this race. But as someone who spent that time in the classroom, I'm not comfortable with some official at the Texas Education Agency, someone who's working from home because it's too dangerous for him to go to work, him ordering that schools be opened without a plan for safety, without listening to the doctors and the specialists. Because if teachers get sick, you can't run a school anyway. If the cafeteria workers are sick, we can't serve lunch. If the janitors are sick, we can't open classrooms. So how can you run a school safely in this pandemic? I mean, teaching was hard enough, as any teacher will testify, before COVID-19. I mean, keeping kids on task in these overcrowded buildings with hundreds or even thousands of students, staggered lunch times, often decrepit buildings, underpaid staff. And you're going to layer on top of that social distancing, COVID-19, and trying to keep a healthy classroom. And so it's not the right thing for teachers. It's not the right thing for school workers. It's not the right thing for students or the parents or the community to reopen these schools without a plan. And so, the president thinks it's the right thing to prop up his poll numbers because he wants people to go back to work to bolster the stock market. And our governor just won't allow an inch of separation with him and the president, even if it means saving lives. And Michael McCall, of course, won't raise a peep, whether it's about COVID-19 or our schools. But we can't pretend that this crisis doesn't exist. And we're going to have to keep fighting on issues of protecting our students and teachers, on making sure that we reopen the state safely and not beforehand, that we take care of workers. And so, long story short, y'all, this campaign has gotten this far by fighting for the people, and we won't stop. We're going to go on and win this race in November, and we're going to keep advocating for the community here in Austin, here in Cypress, here in Katy, Tomball, Eagle Lake, Brenham, Bastrop, Elgin, Smithville, LaGrange, Columbus, Belleville. This is a beautiful district from Volente to Katy. It's a huge district from Schulenburg to Giddings. But it's a beautiful place. And we're running on a platform that meets the needs of this moment. And I'm so happy to be here with each of you, to celebrate with y'all. The work continues tomorrow. I mean, some of you could take a day off. I won't be. We got work to do. There's only 3.5 months to finish this job. But thank you so much for everything you've done to contribute to this campaign. Let's get a good night's rest, and then let's go finish the job, y'all. So thank you so much. Right on, folks. We did it. Let's keep going.